October 15, 1991. Judicial Faultline. The United States Senate confirmed Clarence Thomas to the Supreme Court by a vote of 52 to 48. His nomination had been submitted on July 1, 1991, after President George H.W. Bush named him to replace Justice Thurgood Marshall. Thomas had served only briefly on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit and earlier as chairman of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. During the Senate Judiciary Committee hearings, the committee first deadlocked on whether to report his nomination favorably, 7-7, then voted 13-1 to send it to the full Senate without recommendation. That move was rare and demonstrated the intensity of the dispute. Late in the process, a confidential FBI report leak raised allegations that Thomas had made inappropriate sexual remarks to Anita Hill, a former colleague who had worked with him at the Department of Education and later the EEOC. After that disclosure, the Senate reopened the hearings, and Hill testified publicly over several days, from October 11th to October 13th. She alleged comments of a sexual nature that she said Thomas had made during their past professional association. Thomas denied all allegations. The televised, high-profile testimony elevated national attention on questions of conduct, credibility, and the scrutiny applied to judicial nominees. Over the course of the hearings, Thomas answered senators' questions under intense pressure. Some senators pressed him on memory, on the validity of Hill's claims, and on whether personal behavior should affect a nominee's qualification for a lifetime judicial office. Despite the testimony and debate, the nomination advanced to the Senate floor. In the final vote, Thomas received support from 41 Republicans and 11 Democrats, while 46 Democrats and 2 Republicans voted nay. The 52-48 margin was one of the narrowest successful confirmations in modern history. Thomas took the oaths of office on October 23, 1991, becoming the 106th Justice of the Supreme Court. He became the second African American to serve on the court, after Marshall. His confirmation marked a shift in how public and politically charged Supreme Court nominations could become. The battle over his confirmation showed that ideological conflict, personal allegations, and public engagement could converge in judicial selection. The historical significance of Thomas's confirmation extends in several dimensions. It reinforced that Supreme Court nominations could become focal points for broader social and cultural battles, particularly relating to gender, race, and power. The hearings raised awareness of sexual harassment in the workplace and stimulated public debate and civic attention to the issue. The high-profile nature of Anita Hill's testimony and the Senate's handling of it contributed to a surge in women running for public office in 1992, a political moment often called the Year of the Woman. The Thomas confirmation also marked a modern turning point in Senate confirmation politics. The close vote and intense scrutiny foreshadowed later confirmations where partisan stakes would dominate. The decision to report without recommendation, the reopening of hearings, and the prominence of personal allegations entered into the norms of confirmation fights that would follow. Moreover, Thomas's long tenure on the court allowed his judicial philosophy, grounded in originalism, skepticism toward expansive constitutional interpretation, and a preference for textualism, to exert influence on many areas of American law over decades. In summary, the 1991 confirmation of Clarence Thomas was not merely a legal appointment. It represented a moment where the intersection of race, gender, judicial power, and Senate procedures played out visibly before the nation. It altered how confirmations are conducted, how nominees are scrutinized, and how the public interprets the balance between personal history and judicial qualification. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.